All right, welcome to the Ambition Audio Show. We are coming live, the Hamptons, New York. I have the handsome homebuyer on the podcast, Mr. Charles Weinrob. How you doing, sir?
I'm good, man. Good to be here. Thanks for having me. I appreciate you.
Yeah, no problem. So Charles is an absolute real estate mogul on Long Island. He's done over 300 deals the last 5 years. He's got the best YouTube channel in the game. I watch it on a weekly basis. The guy is killing it. I mean, we should be charging for this podcast. Let's put it that way. So Charles,
Dude, you got to be my hype man, bro. Whenever I do something, I'm bringing you. You're going to come out there on stage. You're going to fire everybody up, and then I'm going to do my thing and try to deliver.
Oh, that's funny. You know, that's not the first offer I've had to be a hype man, by the way. So I like that.
You got a good voice. You got the energy. You got the hair. It all works.
The hair. Yeah, no, I definitely try to bring the energy. That's, we got to use what we have. We got to use what we have.
100%, man. 100%.
Okay, so Handsome Homebuyer. I love the name. It catches, you have the commercial going. How'd you get that name, and how'd you get into real estate?
So I guess to dial it back, get into real estate first, because without real estate, there is no Handsome Homebuyer. I was 27 years old, and a buddy of mine gave me Rich Dad, Poor Dad, the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Love that book.
So, I feel like I wish they would have given that to me in high school instead of like all the other worthless shit that we were learning about that never used, right?
Absolutely.
So I read that, and I'm like, boom, that's it. I'm going to be a professional investor. Now, at the time, I didn't know what that meant. Was that stocks? Was that real estate? What was it? So I started studying the greats of stocks, and then I quickly realized that that's not my thing. Like, you got to know yourself. You got to know what you're good at, what you love, and really you have to know what you love, because if you're going to be great at something, you're going to have to love it in the times where everything is just going to shit. That is a very, very, very important point. So I realized I didn't love that. I needed something more tangible. So I settled into real estate. So I went to NYU and took a one-day class on foreclosures. This is post-crash, like 2010, 2011, 2012, okay. Something like that. And because everybody thinks when you get into real estate, banks are just giving houses away.
Yeah.
You quickly learn when you're in this, obviously you know this, being
I know.
That's not the case.
Nope.
So, but they did say go and join the local RIAs, Real Estate Investment Associations, and they have those all over Long Island, all over the country, all over the world. So I joined East Coast RIA. I went to East Coast RIA in Levittown, and they meet once a month. And the man that ran it was a man named Carl Chavone, who's also a mentor and a performance coach. And I started training with him, and I trained with him for almost 4 years before I ever did my first deal.
Wow.
The name, the Handsome Homebuyer, I have a buddy who is a very handsome fellow, but he's always going around calling everybody handsome. So when I was thinking about, I need a name, like I need to brand myself, what's my name going to be? And I remember my girlfriend at the time, I was like, I'm going to call myself the Handsome Homebuyer. And she's like, you can't call yourself the Handsome Homebuyer. It's the most, but what kind of a vain asshole calls themselves the Handsome Homebuyer? It's just a ridiculous thing. I'm like, I'm not that fucking good looking. It's going to work. People are going to remember it. And here we are all these years later. And the funny part is now that I'm doing big, large scale commercial development as well. Wow. And my professors at NYU would be like, yeah, listen, like, I know you're killing it with this Handsome Homebuyer thing, but you're in the big boys now. Maybe you got to lose the Handsome Homebuyer. I'm like, absolutely not. The Handsome Homebuyer is who I am. It's where I started. It's where I'll finish. And people are going to do a deal with me. They don't give a fuck what my name is. They're just going to remember it.
Absolutely. No, that's solid branding. And when you're first getting into the real estate space, the branding thing is, you don't know what you want to do, whether it's ambition, you want to do these crazy videos. So, I mean, the Handsome Homebuyer thing is so catchy. I remember Brian Karp, Brian Karp very well. And I had one of his open house signs at my house, and the sales giant. And my brother's like, What is the sales giant? I'm like, that guy made a ton of money last year from the sales giant thing. So, these catchy names, they work. So, all right. So now you're in real estate. You have the mentor. 4 years before your first deal. That's a lot of learning time. So it sounds like you wanted to really master it.
Well, I spent 3 to 4 years training with him. And then when I was finally ready to get a deal, it took me a year to find my first deal. So that's really the thing that I think people really need to know, like a younger listener base or people that are first getting into real estate, regardless of how old you are. People think they can go to a boot camp or watch a show and then just go and buy houses. No, if you want to do it the right way, you need at least a year of hardcore education with a real mentor in order to be ready to even go out there and attempt to bid on properties.
That's really solid advice, and that's exactly the target audience right now. These are guys, young gunners, hustlers. They know they want to get into the investment space. They don't know how. They're watching the YouTube videos. They're signing up for the coaching. Now, do you have any kind of mentors or coaching programs that you suggest?
So the only mentor that I suggest, because again, there's a lot of things out there. You'll hear about fortune builders and this guy and that guy, and they're really expensive, man. It's 25, 35, 40, $50,000. Now, I'm not going to say that you can't learn a lot in those programs, but I don't think you need to invest that kind of money. Carl Chavone, who is still the head of East Coast Re-Up, I'll send you the link to that so you can include in this podcast.
Yeah, I'll plug it.
He is
Absolutely.
Yeah, he is still a mentor and like a father to me. He's still a performance coach. He trains some of the top people in the country in fix and flip, multifamily, single family rental. And the most important thing is he is just a saint of a person. Like, he's not here to beat you over the head for money. He just loves to teach people and see them grow. So he's the only person I ever recommend.
That's awesome. Okay. Yeah, I'll definitely plug him, and I'll personally check that out because I'm always an open book for information. I'm constantly reading one or two books, throw an audio book on top of that. I mean, I'm constantly searching for new information. So hence why I sought you out, because I use you to learn as well. So let's talk about the actual real estate investment. So you're getting into it now. Let's talk about the flips, because I see you on all over social media. You're walking into these houses that look like death traps, and you're making money on them. So what does a perfect flip look like for you? What do you seek out, and what does that look like?
So there's really no such thing as a perfect flip. Essentially, what you have to do is get creative to, maximize whatever the spread is. So you're looking at a property and you say, okay, what do I think this is worth when I resell it? And that really depends on what you do to it. So the thing that I've done over the last couple of years is I've become very versatile. And what I mean by that is I do dormers. Like, if I look at a piece of property, I can turn it into money one way, shape, or form, or nobody can. So either I'm looking at a piece of property and it's going to be a fix and flip, or it's going to be what I refer to as a pump and dump, which is you put it back on the market the way it is, or you just do very minimal work to it, or it's a gut reno, or we're putting a dormer on it, or we're knocking it down and building new construction, or we're turning it into a rental, or we're referring it out into a listing. One way, shape, or form, I monetize whatever comes my way. And you need the education to understand what works well in which markets, and you need the team to be able to pull off all of those different things. Otherwise, you won't. Most people are just pigeonhole type of investors. They like to flip houses in Levittown. And if a house comes up in Quorum, they're not able to do it. Or they just want to flip, they don't want to rent because they don't want to deal with tenants. Well, I want to deal with tenants, and I built a property management company to support that. You
Love
have
that.
to be
Love
versatile,
that.
or when the market shifts, you're not going to have any business. Give you a very quick example. I met with a commercial agent yesterday, which I think there's a ton of opportunity in the commercial space because it's serviced like shit. So this gentleman is telling me that he came in and he wanted to be a Class A office broker. And he's like, bro, I'm out of business now. That's what I'm talking about. If this guy branded himself as the Long Island broker and understood the whole market and did retail and industrial space and multifamily, he would still have a business. But now, because all he wants to do is office, he doesn't have a business. He's done. Same thing with a guy or girl who wants to just flip or have one type of model.
Awesome. Yeah. And you mentioned Quorum. I saw you just did a really nice job in Quorum with that open floor plan.
Oh, yeah, in
Yeah.
Dorchester, man. Worked with
Yeah.
the O'Neill team. Absolutely crushed that house.
Yeah. Those guys are killing it over there. I have him coming on the podcast too. But okay. So you're a young guy. You're a guy like me. What would you be seeking out for your first flip? As someone who's just getting into the space, I mean, I started in commercial real estate in New York City. I was doing retail. Thank God I got out of that. But, so then I switched to the residential market. I've been doing it about 6 months now. So I know a little bit, but I'm obviously still learning. What would you be looking for as a guy like me for your first investment?
Okay. So again, first and foremost, vital that you get the education. You can't just go out there and do it. You need to build your professional team, which consists of attorneys, lenders, contractors, title companies, different trades within the construction world, sheetrocker, this, that, paint,
That's
etc.
important.
Yeah, you need to have that. You need to have a permit expediter. You have to understand the market and where you're in. Once you have this general understanding where you don't know everything, but you know you're not going to get hurt, then you're ready. On your first flip, you want to get something that isn't a total bomb. you want to go in there, try to do a kitchen, a bathroom, or whatever. Or if you have a strong understanding of construction, maybe you want to go a little bit heavier. But in general, for somebody who doesn't have a ton of construction experience like I didn't, you
Yeah.
want to get into a reno that isn't insane. Like you don't want to do a full gut, you know, put a dormer on, spend $250,000 out the gate on something like that. You want something quicker. That's going to be a 4 to 6 week reno that you can manage, and you're in and you're back on the market.
Gotcha. Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense. Okay, I appreciate that. Now, I had a shout out to Hakeem Edwards right now. Shout out my friend Keem. He's a savvy finance guy, and he's looking to get into the investment space. We've been talking real estate investment for a couple years now. Now, he's concerned with Long Island's taxes, getting into Long Island investment because of the taxes. Now, is there any ways that you get around that legally? Obviously, and and is there any for a flip or a rental property? What is some kind of tax breaks that you're looking at?
All right, so here's the thing, and this comes up a lot, and I'll revert back to what my accountant once told me when I said the same thing to him, which was, Charles, it's not really bad to have to pay taxes on money that you make. There's a lot of people that I do books for that have absolutely no money in the bank. So if you have to pay taxes because you're making money, that's a good problem to have. Don't worry about it. So here's the thing, and this is why I flip houses to buy rentals, because rentals are how you build long-term generational wealth and have
Love it.
much better tax implications than flips. If you're flipping a house, your houses become inventory, just like as if you're selling widgets, as if you're selling cameras, and as if you're selling, you know, real estate as an agent. The taxes are unavoidable. Now you can, you know, have things like SEP and self-directed IRAs and things where you can defer money into to help you with taxes. You just really need a great accountant, which goes back to
The team?
building a great team. But at the
Gotcha.
end of the day, bro, you're going to pay taxes, and
Yeah.
the more money you make, the more taxes you're going to pay. But that's why you have to put it into passive type of strategies like rentals that you can refinance, that you can pull money out tax-free, things like that.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And that's a good segue over to rental properties. See, rental properties, this is my plan. This is how I'm going to build wealth. This is how I'm going to be a millionaire by 30. Rental properties. So let's
Okay.
talk about it. So when did you start? Because I just watched one of your one of the things you just did with JB, and so you were going hard with the flips, and then you realized from your mentor that this is how you build generational wealth, the rental properties. So
Yes.
at what point did you start getting into the rental properties, and what kind of success did you see with them right off the bat?
So I've been doing this for 5.5 years. By the end of this year, I'll be the end of my 6th year as a
Okay.
full-time real estate investor. So I started buying rentals like 4 years ago. So a year and a half into it, Carl would always say, you know, you got to buy rentals. That's how you build generational wealth. That's how you build generational wealth. And I was so hung up on the flipping thing that I finally got a good deal on a property in Brentwood that was pretty clean. And I said, you know what, let me test out my first rental. So I did a little bit of renovation to it, put a tenant in there. That tenant's been there since that day. And then I realized, like, you know what?
You love to see it.
Yeah, this makes sense. This works. Because my thought process at the time was this: the market always changes. It's never going to be awesome forever. So at the time, 2017, I was crushing it. I did like 67 houses that year.
Wow.
And I was like, but you know what? What happens when the market turns? Which ultimately it always turns at one point. If I can't flip in the worst case scenario, how am I going to survive? So that's when I realized I was like, I have to create a rental portfolio that is enough to sustain me so that I can eat and live in the event that everything goes to zero and I can't flip.
Yeah, I mean, that makes a lot of sense. And you get that the passive income. Now, people say passive income. It doesn't seem all that passive. So
No.
it's not exactly. So what are the big headaches that you run in? I know you have a property management company, so you manage other people's property, but then you're obviously managing your own. So what are the big headaches that you run into and the big expenses that you see when people are moving out and things like that?
So I have a property management company. It manages only my properties.
Oh,
I'm only
wow.
entered
Okay.
up. Yeah, within the next 6 months, we are going to open that up to the public, and we're going to start managing other people's properties as well. But we really have it dialed in, man. Like, we have it set up so that we really maximize revenue, minimize expenses, have the longevity. So we work with a lot of different program-based tenants. We have all different kinds of tenants, from cash-paying tenants to program-based tenants. But we work with a lot of program tenants because They never leave. They
Mhm.
never, ever, ever leave. So the average program tenant, like a Section 8 or a CDC or a HUD Bash or something like that, stays for 11 years, whereas a regular cash tenant on average stays for 2 years. So we take less money, or I draw up the pro forma based on those rents. And you could go to the CDC, they have a landlord forum, and they'll explain to you, how the utility deductions work and how much they're going to pay every year and how
Mhm.
the rents go up every year. But I have an excellent agent that tenants my properties for me. Her and I are so close, we're lockstep, that I don't even meet the tenants anymore. She puts them in there. We do gut renovations, beautiful jobs on the rentals. We design them a certain way to minimize the amount of maintenance and minimize cost. And then we do inspections every 4 months on the properties to make sure that they're being maintained. And if there's any issues, we fix them right away. But I mean, crazy shit could happen, bro. I have a 5-family building not too far from here. Somebody tried to kidnap one of the kids out of the parking lot the other day.
Holy
Like,
shit.
yeah, it's crazy. Like you never know.
Wow.
But in general,
You're
so
dealing with
I'm
real life. That's, I
yeah,
mean, real life craziness.
it's dude, it's anything can and will happen in this business. And I have 70, no, I think 81 or 82 rentals at this point. So
You have
it's a
81 rental properties?
yeah, 81 or
This
82,
guy's going to
something
be a
like that.
billionaire.
So it's a shit show. It is
Yeah.
just the law of averages. Shit is going to happen, but I don't get involved in it. I have an amazing team. Emily deals with it all day, every day. At 4 o'clock, she struts into my office. She tells me, this is all the bullshit, what we have to deal with. How do you want to handle it? What do you want to spend money on? Who do you want me to call? And that's it. I don't deal with it.
That's fantastic. Wow. I didn't realize you had such a big portfolio. That's insane. And then you have it all still seems like it goes back to the team. You've built that great team. So you have a system, you have Emily that deals with it, you have your rental agent, and it just works. That's fantastic. That's good stuff. So, so you've mastered the Long Island game, and I have a
Mm-hmm.
couple buddies that are all about. And so, actually, let's take one step back. So, let's talk partnerships, and this will segue into the emerging markets I want to talk about. So,
Okay.
when you get into these real estate investments, and when you were first getting started, did you have partners, and did you syndicate these deals?
So I've never, ever, ever partnered on a deal. It's not something I really love doing, only because I know myself. And when people say to me, oh, my partner, I look at them and say, yo, why do you need a partner? Tell me why
That's what
you
I
need a
say.
partner. You don't need a partner. So why would you need a partner? I learn everything I need to know, and I can hire people to do what I don't know. And if it's about money, I raise private money. So I don't need a partner to take 50% or take an equity position on a fix and flip or single family rental. I raise the money, structure the financing correctly, buy the right deal, build in enough value through the renovations that I do so that I don't need to do that.
Okay, so you are raising money to buy some deals.
No, I raise money on every single deal that I purchase. It's just a matter of the structure. Like a basic fix and flip, I raise money from private people. I don't go to institutional hard money lenders. I put together I call it the Handsome Homebuyer private lender package. And I went out there from the investment number one, and I pitched investors on investing with me, and I set the terms, and I said, this is what it is. And I just came up with it on my own. And that's it. And I have people that I graduated high school with that invest in me. I have
That's
guys that
great.
own hedge funds that invest with me, and everything in between. I want people to understand that money is the easiest part of this whole business, bro. If you're not in this because like you think you don't have the money, it's bullshit. That's not real. You need money, yes, but it doesn't have to be your money. And if you set it up right and you learn from the right mentor, like I did with Carl, you can have the education and the means to raise as much money as you want.
That's really, really interesting, and I'm definitely going to take you up on. I definitely want to meet this gentleman named Carl because that's something that sounds really interesting. And I know a lot of guys that are doing that. Hate to use the word a million times, but the syndication thing. So they're syndicating funds, they're syndicating investors, they're raising money, and they're buying these huge 100-unit apartment buildings in, let's say, Jacksonville, Florida, Tennessee. They call it emerging markets. So how do you feel
Yeah.
about these emerging markets?
I mean, there's so many different things to invest in within real estate. You can do whatever you like. I don't do that kind of stuff. I know people that are great at it and they make a lot of money. It's just a very different model. Like when you get, that's essentially what I went to NYU for, and to get my master's degree in real estate development, to really understand on the highest level,
Yeah, I
which
saw
is,
you did that. You did that recently, right?
I just graduated in the spring.
Congratulations.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So amazing experience, but it's a different model. When you're syndicating money like that, you're doing it because, you know, you're getting different fees. So, you know, typically, let's say you're going to you're going to have 85% bank financing, and then there's 15% that you need equity. You're going to have a certain piece of the 15%, and you're going to invest alongside the investors. On top of that, you're going to get different fees. So you're going to get a management fee to run it. You're going to get a developer fee. You might get different financing fees or whatever. It's a different model. It's a different animal. But I would argue to say that in the single family world, like Carl said to me from day one, it's like, listen, there is no better investment from an ROI standpoint than buying a single family house and renting it. And I was like, but you know what? He's 100% right. And I have dozens and dozens and dozens of those deals that prove that he is right. So I'm at NYU with all these guys and girls who come from huge multi-generational real estate families,
Yeah.
and they work at big firms, but they're all over me because they're like, bro, how do you do this? Because it's one thing to go out there and try to say, yeah, I'm going to go build a $300 million building. It seems not really attainable. It's a lot easier to start with, you know, a one family house or a duplex or a 4-unit or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And a single family house, I mean, if you're putting 3% down, that's something anybody can do. Well,
Well,
not anybody, but.
so the best way to maximize a return on a rental property is this. It's something called the value add play, which is all I do. So you're going to go in and you're going to buy a distressed property with private money. You're either going to evict the people that are in there, they're going to move out, or the place is a vacant shithole. You're then going to gut renovate it or renovate it, tenant it, and then refinance out of it with bank financing at a higher price point. And that's how you take all, if not most, of your money off the table. That's how real estate investors make a lot of money.
That's really interesting. This guy, I have a feeling that this guy, Carl, and his education course is going to get a couple customers after this podcast.
I hope so. He's a great man, man. He changed my life. He really did. And he gave me financial freedom. Like I owned a Mako Body Shop franchise before this, and I left that business to do this. And it was the best decision I ever made.
That's awesome. Now, you go by the handsome home buyer. I mean, you have a humongous real estate portfolio. You should go by the humble home buyer because, I mean, you're so humble. You're taking the time with me. I mean, are you doing anything outside of real estate? I mean, are you buying a house on Dune Road in the Hamptons? I mean, are you doing anything crazy or do you keep it modest?
Nah, man, I'm the most, like I always tell people, I don't do this shit for the money. I mean, you need money. Money's good enough to the point where you don't know you're not going to starve. But I do it for the action. I like to build businesses. I like to ride. I'm wearing $20 Gap jeans that I got on sale and a free shirt. Buy, sell, invest.
Oh, I love those.
That I got from Alex and Amanda over at and now they're at EXP. So, you know, I drive around in a Honda HR-V. I don't have fancy shit. I don't even own a house that I live in. So I'm not in it for that. I'm not in it for the flash and the Ferraris and for the bullshit.
Yeah.
Not my thing.
That's really cool. That's really cool. I respect that a lot because, you know, the inner me, I want to go get the brand new Audi and I want to ball out in the Hamptons and I want to be doing it big. But I know right now that I need to, play it small, save money so I can build that generational wealth, So actually, I want to ask you one more quick question before we go.
Sure.
So the real estate market is on effing fire right now. It's on fucking fire. Let's not sugarcoat it. It's on fire. Everyone's making money. It's great. Everyone's happy. Sellers are happy. Not enough people want to sell their house. How long do you see this lasting? And do you see November 4th affecting it
So, I mean, the real estate market is on fire on Long Island. The real estate market in New York City and other places.
Oh, it's flop.
Is shit.
Yeah.
So that's the thing about real estate. There's always opportunity. There's always great markets and there's always shitty markets. On Long Island, I see this lasting for at least another couple of years. Here's the thing with real estate is not like the stock market. It is a very slow turning ship. And when you look at the dynamics of what's going on in the market, there's not really a lot that can change that. I mean, you have historically low interest rates, which the Fed has said they're going to keep low till at least 2021. You have a mass
Got it.
exodus, the largest exodus since the 1930s or 40s or 50s, out of cities into the suburbs. And you have zero inventory. And right now you have no foreclosures, no evictions, nothing. So
They're coming.
They're not going to start foreclosing on people until next year. Then that inventory
Oh,
has
wow.
to get out, has to get renovated, has to get put on the market. Interest rates are still low. People are still leaving. And in the first time home buyer market, which is mostly what I do, so that's like sub 550 houses,
I saw that. Yeah.
there was no inventory for that stuff pre-COVID. Now you have all these people coming out, people not getting foreclosed on, cheap ass money. I mean, it's nuts, bro. I put a house on the market in Wyandanch. It was
I saw that. This is crazy right here. Listen to this. This is crazy.
So for those of you who don't know what Wyandanch is not exactly the best area on Long Island. It's got a very high crime rate. The schools are not great. But I mean, everything on Long Island is popping because there's no land and there's no inventory. So it's a high ranch with a basement, which is very cool. It's very rare to have a high ranch with an actual basement.
Yeah.
I've only done 2 in my whole career. So I set it up as 6 bedrooms, 3 over 3, 1 bath, and then the outside entrance unfinished basement. I listed the thing for $399, a little bit low to get the action in there. I figured it was like,
Very smart.
maybe 420. Bro, the house sold for 500 grand.
Wow. 100 grand over asking. You hear that? Price low and you will sell higher because of the traction you'll get. The more people in there, the bidding war that ensues.
Without a doubt. There was a line around the block. My dad was like, Jesus, it's pandemonium here. There's people fighting online. But that's what it is right now. And then I think the most important thing for people is nothing lasts forever, man. So when you're making money or when things are going well, plan for the next thing, because you don't want to blow all that money or, be stupid or buy watches and bullshit. And then you're screwed because eventually there's going to be a shift and it's going to stop.
That's very smart advice. So, okay, Charles, I really appreciate this podcast. A ton of golden nuggets in there. For me personally, I think the listening audience is going to get a ton of value from this. So where can they find you?
I appreciate it, man. I'm on every platform out there. Instagram, handsome_homebuyer. Same thing on TikTok. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Facebook. Google my name, Charles Weinberg, it pops up. Obviously, I got the YouTube channel, which I hope you'll include the link in this so people could just click to go to.
Of course.
Ton of great info. I'm very accessible. People can send me DMs. I always get back to everybody, and I'm happy to just, help and spread the knowledge whenever I can.
All right, beautiful. Well, Charles, I really appreciate your time. I'll be out there door knocking, cold calling, and hustling, trying to find you a deal.
I like it, man. I like it. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's make it happen. All right, Ambition Audio Show. Charles Weinrob signing off. Thank you very much.
You got it, buddy. Take care.
All right, bye.